Hello and welcome to how I play my level 65 Shadowknight. We're going to jump right in here. This is an incremental guide from the level 50, 55, 60, and now 65 guide. So there's not much changing. Some spells get changed around. Hotbar doesn't really change. The multi-bind changes a little bit. And then other than that, it's just, pretty standardized stuff. You'll see here I have some different combat dummies up. They're different levels. These are level 70. This one's level 65. And in the back we have some lower loads just for reference if we use them. But I usually don't do any logs or anything like that in these videos because it is so subjective. Especially at this level when I'm using a raid axe from Velius, but I'm 65 now, so I should have at least group weapons from a different expansion. So it just depends on that. So let's go into spells first. So we've upgraded our spear to Miasmic Spear, and this is gonna do 770 damage instantly. So it's pretty quick. Boom. It's a good taunting weapon or spell. I guess it's does 1,000. I guess with all my special stuff. And then talking about special stuff real quick, right here we have focus on our wrist and another different focus. It's the same focus. So you're going to want to look out for those to increase your poison and disease damage. Next up I have Terror of Thule, which is a taunt, instantaneous taunt. It's a very nice little spell. I believe in the level 60 video I had 2 of these memorized. Now they don't have a timer or anything like that, so you can memorize all the terror spells you want for that jolting aggro as you need it. I dropped it for this next spell here, Zephyr's Bite, which is our first mana tap spell. Instead of life tap, it taps mana. So this does 200 damage, but heals the bodies and minds of your group. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? So this is a pretty long recast. We cast it like that. You'll see that the effect goes on everybody, right? So that did 292 damage, and then just so much junk there. I guess we're not going to be able to see everything else that it does, but it gives us back mana and it gives us back some hit points. I don't know the exact numbers, I guess, but it is worth casting on cooldown. I do have it in my multi-bind now. Then I have upgraded to the latest the latest snare, which is Festering Darkness. I like to keep the latest snare just in case. It's, the damage on this is not really important as much as the 60% snare. Now, I also have a snare taken care of with my Beast Lord, but this is just in case, something happens, right? So eventually this spell slot will be freed up and replaced with something else, but right now it's not. And then I have one life tap memorized. This is Touch of Enuruk, and this does 510 damage with a fairly quick cast time, right? Now you see there we got a 632 out of that, and it should have healed us for the exact same amount. We have some AAs that we picked up via auto grant here under class. So we have Theft of Life. So this increases the instant duration healing and life tap spells, 14% chance to get a critical, right? So now we can critical our life taps. And then there was one more. Where is it? Oh man, I should have done a little research. There's another one that increases the proc chance, I believe, on the proc ones, but life taps are now becoming more and more important to the class. So having life taps up and the procs from Shroud. Yeah, Shroud does a life tap, and I don't think this one does. No, this one just gives us that. So it's very important now. There's AAs that benefit that. And now we're we have Pact of Hate. which is a new Lich spell. So it turns us into a skeleton. I believe, yeah, this one turns us into a skeleton and takes our health and turns it into mana. It's not at a rate that affects our stuff yet, but in a group that does not have clarity, this is the best thing we can get right now. So, very good. Then I have Voice of Thule. So the Voice of Thule is a hate aggro buff that we can cast on anybody, but you want to cast it on yourself. And it will increase our aggro by a good percentage. And usually when I have this on, I can hold aggro on most things, but as you saw in the last video, when the what is it, the Roost of War, I think is what I called it. In that video, the mages were pulling aggro via their rain spells, which was causing me just more headaches than anything. So I got rid of the rains on them, but until we can have a better way of holding aggro, that's all we have. Next up, Black Shroud. This just gives us a proc chance to do a life tap. And if we go over here and just start meleeing this guy, right? We should get a proc pretty quick. I think this is, yeah, there it is. 270 from that proc. So just every time we take a swing, we should get a proc chance. Obviously, it's not that great. As you can see, we're getting procs on our Wolfenite, but we're not getting procs on our Shroud yet. So, yeah, there's another one. So it's not that great of a proc chance yet, but eventually it becomes better. And then finally, I have Death Piece in my final spot. This is Feign Death, because there we go, fizzled. Just in case something happens, I want to be able to feign death. All right, now other spells. Let's see here. We have a pet, Invoke Death. So at this point, at 65, we have the ability to hold our pet. So G hold on our pet. And we also have the ability for the pets via one of these AAs. Companion something. Sort by name, companion suspension. Yeah, this right here makes your pet a valid target for beneficial group spells. Now you can see how many buffs are on my pet. I did a group buff, buffed everybody up before the video, and now all the pets at around 65-ish, whatever. Yeah, it looks like 65 is when we got that. Got the ability to now receive the buff. So now this is a level 49 Necromancer pet. And if we go over here, right? Let me do this. Because he's on guard right now. Let's just turn him back on follow. Bring him back over here. And let's have him attack from behind. He'll die from the front. But we'll let him attack. And other melee. Here we go. So this is a level 65 training dummy. So he's hitting for 57, 50. There, he critical punches for 96 and 57. So he's doing okay, right? It's not a mage pet, I'll tell you that, but it is damage. Now I would consider this a dot that I can cast, that I don't have to really think about. And my multi-bind has pet attack in it, so he just goes and attacks when it is unnecessary for him to attack. So it's pretty good to have. I mean, the crits for 100. I mean, that's not too bad, right? That's not too bad. So we have a pet. The pet also has a pet buff, Augmentation of Death, which will increase his haste and other damages and whatnot. So it lasts for a good while. Always cast it. And then finally, the last spell I cast at the moment, Cloak of Lucklin, is our Cloak spell. This is one of our self buffs. So you can see here, covers us in Living Shadow, increasing our hit points, armor class, and gives us a damage shield. So if we look here, I was at 52 there. So it looks like it gives me about a 50% 50-point damage shield all said and done with what I have, right? I think at that point in time, I did not have the mage one, so I am not 100% sure where all that is at, but it's, you know, extra damage, which synergizes with the, what is it called? Intense Hatred, I believe. Can we sort these by like name? Intense Hatred. So increases the overall effective damage shields that are cast on you by 15 points. So we got this at 65. So every damage shield that goes on us has an extra 15 points of damage. Now you might think, oh, 15 points is 65 and the mobs are hitting for what? 99, 100, 300? It's not a whole lot. You know, they got a lot of hit points, but it adds up. Every little bit of damage adds up. I don't slow anything. I'm very lazy. Shamans have slow. Beast Lord has slow. I don't do it. So I'm getting the full benefit of the damage shield on the Shadowknight. So it's pretty nice for me, but it just depends on how you play. All right. So that's the spells I use. I'm not switching much out at this point. Eventually we will have some different sets here. I'm kind of holding off on some stuff until 75 when we get Unity. Where is it? We get 2 Unities because we're special. But at 75, we get a Unity spell that casts pretty much all our self buffs, which will then mean I can change up this spell and this spell, right? So we're going to get some AAs to replace the spells and, you know, things like that. So there's changes that will become, but this is just how I'm doing it now because I'm leveling so fast. I literally went from 62 to 65 in, you know, less than an hour. It's you know, it's going fast, so I don't need to focus too much on a lot of this stuff, right? But it's just a matter of getting everything in the right spot. But as the hotbar, not much has changed. The multi-bind first bar here is the exact same as it has always been. The multi-bind did change because I did get rid of one of the terrors. So I still have taunt. I like something I've noticed, at least on TLPs, right? All taunt does is add 1 to your aggro, right? Most people say don't spam taunt. I spam taunt all the damn time, and I don't lose aggro. I've grouped with warriors on TLPs. I've grouped with people on normal servers, and I pull aggro with all my characters against, you know, people who are not spamming taunt. And the reason why I feel like it's valuable to, you know, spam taunt is, all right, so I'm not getting the benefit when I already have aggro, right? So I'm just going +1 of whatever I already had. But if in that split second I lost aggro, I pull it back, right? And I have +1 to whatever the other person had. Plus the other stuff I'm casting, it just all adds up, and it's one less thing to think about. If I could auto skill taunt, I would, because quite frankly, it doesn't matter. But I feel like it works enough to help in my case, right? Like I was playing my Necro Antique, and 2 different warriors in 2 different groups, they could not hold aggro off 1 dot. I grouped with another warrior, he was like spamming every button he could possibly spam, and he was holding aggro 100% of the time. And they had equivalent weapons. They like one didn't have like epics and stuff like that. So I stand behind spamming taunt. You can have different opinion, but that's my opinion. Next up is Terror of Thule in my multi-bind. So I just extra aggro at all times. And then I have Zephyr's Bite, which is just the mana suck, replenish. And then I have the life tap. So if we go over here to like the mob, right? And I just start hitting 4. So the pet goes in. I'm spamming 4. You can see here. We're getting all the spells just pretty much on cooldown now. So, you know, we're not going to do anything for a few seconds while we wait for cooldown. Touch Vinarok. There we go. And then you don't even see the bites go out. And then the taunt, instantly taunted again. Should be fine. Then we get some other stuff there. Alright, Strike of the Chosen from the weapon. Back him off. So it's, you know, it's a pretty simple multi-bind at this point. there's not much else we could do. Now there are some alternatives we could be doing, right? Let's take a look at some of this stuff, right? We do have disease dot here. We have a fire dot. We have a poison dot, and stuff like that. Now, I believe one of these, at some point, these become instant. I don't know if they're instant yet. This is a 2-second cast time for 160 damage dot that takes 36 seconds. That's the way I kill. That does nothing for me right now. Maybe later on, when if they're instant cast, you know, it might be something worth casting. See here, conversions. Now we have those. Oh yeah. So there's an alternate to Black Shroud, which is called Mental Horror. Now, this will, instead of life tapping, it will mana tap. So whatever you need, you do. You swap them out as needed, I would say. Now, if you need more healing, say you don't have a healer in your group, you could definitely do, where is it here? Touch of Enrook, and then probably Touch of Voltalis, and maybe Drain Soul. I don't think these all share a timer. Let's check real quick. So I'm going to Touch of Enrook. I don't have a timer on them, do they? So, and then I can eventually, or instantly, go back to that one, right? So you could double up the life taps. It's gonna drain your mana. It's like just having Drain Soul level 60 was draining my mana. As I'm getting higher level and getting more mana regen, it's not a big deal. As my support characters get more stuff, they're gonna be able to amplify my mana regen via songs and Paragon and whatnot. But right now that's kind of expensive. From 62 to 65, I did the arena in Plane of Tactics, and that was a pretty intense area. I didn't feel like I was ever out of mana on this character. Just spamming, I think it was Touch of Voltaris at the time, for the level 62 life tap. I didn't feel like I was having any issue there on this character. Now my mages, that's a different story, but I felt like it was fine mana wise for what I'm doing here. So that's my multi-bind. All the rest of the buttons are the same. These are all just teleport clickies and clickies for that. Now we did get upgrades to Harm Touch and Leech Touch. You can see here, Harm Touch is doing 14,000 now. Leech Touch is doing 900 plus 2,500. So it's pretty nice spells to have in your arsenal for emergencies. I think, and there was one case when my mage died in the last video. I just Harm Touched a mob to just get rid of it, so we can try to recover quicker. But it just depends. In a burn situation, I would probably do both Harm Touch and Leech Touch. To just knock out probably a good chunk of the mana, health on a mob. We also did get a new Soul Guard here. Geez, if I could sort this. So we had Ikora Guard before from level 56. Now we have Soul Guard. So this is just a 25% absorption, just like a mini defensive. Takes away up to 6,000 damage. So if we look here, like the mobs I was fighting, and the combat dummy hits me for more than the mobs we were fighting. These are from the Plane of Tactics. They're hitting for almost 300, so 6,000 damage is going to go a long way. At least for that 30-second duration of the Soul Guard. So definitely, you want to have that ready to go if you need it. I haven't needed it. Maybe I did Ikora Guard once or twice, but we also have Deflection, Discipline to block things with your shield. I'm not using a shield, so I don't think that actually does anything for me. And then Leech Curse to really increase our defensive by increasing our melee life taps and stuff like that from our whatnot. Yeah. Heals you for 100% of the damage done from your melee attacks. So it's just, that's definitely Nice, because if we look at what I was hitting for, right, I'm hitting for 400s, so 500 there. Those would be heals during that. But I think that's everything. I think that's everything that's changed. As we get higher level, there will be more details and more things like that that do need to change. And right now, we're not at that point where that needs to be changed. Most of the stuff, we can consider this at a not early 65 TLP. If you're watching this and you're on a TLP and you just hit like 65 in Planes of Power, a lot of these spells, they do have Planes of Power equivalents, but these are the Omens of War and Gates of Discord equivalents for all the replacement spells that come along through that. Some of these I think are come from Lost Dungeons of Noreth too. So this is mostly directed at live, but you could define, infer a lot of this stuff for a TLP character. It just depends. But that's how I play my level 65 Shadowknight. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If I missed something, let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and please have a fantastic day.